Welcome back to my channel. I wanted to talk to you about this book. I'm pulling little nuggets from this book, and I got another one after this. I'm just going to read the intro to the other one, which is called Plague by Judith Minkovich, which I got the book 3 years ago. It completely exposes Dr. Fauci as a fraud. But today, I'm going to continue reading about the global warming deception from Grant Jeffrey's wonderful book in 2012. Now, I want to just try to point out things that I find interesting. And, I'm not here to, do anything other than to share what I find interesting. You can either take it or leave it. Now, Grant's, one of the things at first when I'm reading the introduction, Grant's talks about how global, he calls it AWG. Why do they use these words? Anthropogenic global warming. AGW, I'm sorry. Now, it's interesting dynamic that took place. He claims that the Marxists failed in Soviet Union, and now they still, and the socialists, these are powerful elite groups, and they know America and the world doesn't want to be dominated, and they don't want Americans and free-thinking people to know that these powers that be want to control, want to play God, basically, for their own glory. That's okay. Those two statements are mine, but they want control. That's what Grant Jeffrey would say. I think it's out of selfish, self-glorifying reasons. And what they did, they didn't know what to do once communism failed in Russia. So they latched on to, in the 90s, global warming. And that is basically just a ruse to control everyone and take over the world. All right, so Grant talks about that, and I'm going to read just 2 paragraphs, and I'm going to end the video. I'll try to find something tomorrow. I got more stuff. But this is just the introduction. He says, with the fall of the Soviet Union and the Soviet Eastern Bloc in the late 20th century, powerful socialistic forces began looking for a new strategy to use in establishing a global totalitarian socialistic regime. Communism and socialism had been proven politically and economically bankrupt. Even communist China is now thriving with a heavily regulated and limited form of capitalism under totalitarian political control. The world has become a very different place since Mikhail Gorbachev dismantled the Soviet Communist Party, leading to the dissolution of USSR in 1991. Now, this book I'm reading from is like 8 years old, but it's really good. Now I'm going to just read one more paragraph. So this gives us a little backdrop. Most of the formerly communist nations, except China and Cuba, have either rejected the discredited system outright or have adapted it, as is in the case with China, to take advantage of the overwhelming economic benefits of capitalism. The globalist elite, while not abandoning their socialistic Marxist goals, have taken a more devious approach. They came up with a political strategy that is far easier to sell to the general public, to the news media, to the educators, and the national governments. Their new strategy has been working extremely well in influencing public opinion and attracting massive public support. Without revealing their ultimate goal, the globalist elite have been transforming the regulations, laws, economies, and societies of the world. All right. So let's just read one more paragraph. In this book, we will examine the dark soul of hidden motivations of the AGW movement. The international effort to save humanity from the proclaimed future threat of an unbearably warm climate is built on lies, manipulated research, the destruction of historical temperature data, and the intimidation and silencing of climate change critics. That's big. The movement's goals are imposed on sovereign nations by means of binding, unendorsed international treaties. We will weigh the evidence that demonstrates that almost everything we have been told about humanity's contribution to global warming is a deliberate distortion of the facts. Like my video yesterday said, quoting this book, only 3% of the CO2 emissions are from human. And there's a great quote here, maybe it's in this chapter. The Boston Globe editors, which is indicative of probably every newspaper, told their reporters just to not even listen to the critics of the global warming movement. All right, so that's what I got for you today. We can see that this global warming is actually a movement hijacked by Marxists and socialists to trick you into being under their control. And it's all built on lies. And a book like this is important to read. The Global Warming Deception by Grant Jeffries. All right. Thank you. Catch you next time. Bye.